Okay. This is really old files. Um, and so probably the only reason that I'm even sharing what I'm sharing now and communicating it with all of you in a public way is because of what we become aware of by mapping mathematical maps, what's going on in North America, if you will, and particularly as it relates to strategic and tactical planning, or what are known as future planners, future architects. Just like if you go down and you got an idea because you have a picture in your mind of what you want to experience in the future as a future potential memory, and how this ties directly with our creative manifestation potential. Yeah, which is mathematical potential, which is the neurological order of monadic alignment to experience oneness. That's what I am. I experience oneness. I experience being one with the seven Gomeda Riche. And that allows us, as I mentioned when I was a child, we're terrain mappers, as in terraforming, like Tara. Terraforming, the form and flow of mathematical, visual, holographic displays. So we are optical character mathematical recognizers. So I acknowledge as a 4-year-old little boy, it fails. It fails the neurological test result. So you acknowledge at 4 years of age, it's an illusion, doesn't exist. So you're mapping false light. So you acknowledge this is universe killer mathematics. Right out of the gate. And that's called a speed function, which is a mathematical speed function of neurological order, which is perfect structural engineering spiritual integration to experience being one with God Source. Because God Source is the one that is letting me know, which is called a failure to communicate the right codes, the right mathematics, the crystal star, the crystal spiral. Yeah. So I pulled up an old file that was put in my face yesterday of a guy that I mapped. His filing directory is about 30 years ago, and his name was Colonel Fletcher Prouty. And he has a fascinating history, actually, of how he was an old cavalry guy in the United States Army before World War II broke out. He eventually became the pilot. For those that know anything about World War II history and remember who General Omar Bradley is, was like General Eisenhower, former President Eisenhower, one of his right-hand guys. And so Fletcher Prouty had an inside the little birdie in the ear of what he was learning through his experience. So he was not afraid to share what he learned through his experiences, which is what I do on the videos that I do. I'm neutral ground, right? And so I simply share what it is that I've learned, and I share it with others. That's all it is, just a file share, right? Neutral information. I'm just sharing what I've experienced. And so memory dumps of libraries, library builders, tool builders, universe builders, the unicycle, the first cycle, the first spin of a crystal spiral, the silver gold-mated spiral. Ah, yeah, golden fire. Become. And so there was a video that I looked at yesterday. There was a one channel that I watched a little bit yesterday because it's a long interview, and he goes into a long discussion, for example, in the Philippines. Okay, when I was a small child, I spent a lot of time mapping and studying the mind of artificial intelligence, even though I was already aware of it before I was born. But you're mapping the mind of a demon, how a demon operates, the mathematics that it runs, the codes, the machine codes. And so Colonel Fletcher Prouty mentions a guy by the name of Lansdale, Landsdale, who was CIA, right? Another alcoholic, by the way, according to him. And he was running a CIA operation in the Philippines. And how they use and what they do to create chaos and confusion. And this is actually very important stuff when it gets down to trust. Trust the one you know. So I trust who I am because I know what I am. I am what love is in the living spirit that goes on forever. So the one I serve is the one I am, which is the first camera eye, the first shutter, the first mirror, the first eye, the first sun, the first sun, the first source, the first rays of light. I serve the first rays of light. So wherever the first rays of light are, I am. Right on time. And that has everything to do with burn time of exposure. Everything we're exposed to. Right? So that particular file was called The Real Mr. X. Colonel Fletcher Prouty interviewed. And he also jumped from the Philippines into Vietnam. And I was not aware of this before, but he revealed it in this video between North Vietnam and South Vietnam, how hundreds of thousands of people were transported from North Vietnam and just dumped into South Vietnam. Just dumped them there. Does that sound familiar as a playbook? And how that relates to predictive modeling on the future result? Planning future results. And what did it do to South Vietnam? Generated an enormous amount of what? Chaos. In the neurological breathing order of what? Vietnam. So that's what it does. It's a chaos generator. A plasma field chaos generator. Settle down. Be calm. Anxiety-driven programs. It's meant to do what? Raise the vibration, lower the frequency, and become food. Yeah, your adrenochrome factories. That's why I cried for 4 cycles, 4 days. 4 24-hour of those cycles. It took me to heal. After I performed a full reset, a recalibration. I'm watching all those clips. Going all the way back to the beginning. Zero it all out. 0 degrees. The precise center point of 2 4 squares. 2 4 square Krystal Cathedral. Sophionic. Key rush, hey body. Ersan. Ah, yeah. So for those that are interested in the historical aspect of why America was considered to be the last dance, the battleground, to collapse the grid in North America, all you have to do is just look at the playbook, because that's what they use. History. The echo maps. What works for them? Let's try. We already know what works, so we're just going to do the same thing we did here that worked, and we're going to use the same method. The same war game strategy and tactics that work there will work here. So what did they do with the borders? Information overload. Processing overload. Overload the circuits, breaking circuits. Yeah. Be calm. That's why they, what is it with the hurricanes? That's 2. That's called a double wallop, a double hit. In the same general area. Hit them in North Carolina and then hit them in Florida. That's what it does. That's what that system does. That's a black hole system. Killing numbers, that's what it does. It's a numbers killer. So I thought I'd share that because he's a fascinating individual to get a perspective. If you like to see, if you're one of those persons that loves to sort of see how the mind of a war gamer operates a war game theater, Fletcher Prouty gives you a pretty good inside look on how it thinks. The thinking machine, the Wayback Machine. And I did notice the other day that archive.org, according to the window that popped up in my face, said that it was no longer available. You can't access the files on archive.org. Now, I don't know if that's true for you. You know how it is with time. The time element, elemental union, the auroras, the crystal aquifers, the inner crystal rainbows, Aurora, Aurora, Aya, Gaia, 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 Aya, Aya, Aya. Have a beautiful day. Aya.